Vina bonus quae dende cadis oneraret acestes litore trinacrio dederat quabeuntibus heros dividit et dictis maerentia pectora mulcet. The wines, it's vinum, remember, so vina is accusative plural, neuter plural, accusative here. Vina, bonus quae, this begins relative clause here. At the end to see the relative pronoun is quae. The wines which good Acestes. Acestes is a guy who hosted them a year ago in Sicily, which good Acestes had loaded into casks back then, last year, litore trinacrio dederatque, and had given to them departing. So this is a present active participle of the verb ab eo, to go away, in the dative plural, indirect object. The wines which Acestes had given to them, to the Trojans, when they were departing. That hero, Acestes, it's in a positive there. The hero had given to them as they were departing the Trinacrian shore. Trinacrius means Sicilian. So when they were departing the shores of Sicily. So that wine, the stuff they got from Acestes, dividit, subject Aeneas. He divides. He dispenses. What do you call that? When you give some to each person? You know what I mean. Et dictis maerentia pectora mulcet. And soothes their grieving hearts with words. And with words their grieving hearts he doth soothe. Oh, Socii. So this is Aeneas speaking now. O Socii, nequenim ignari sumus ante malorum, O passi graviora, dedit Deus his quoque finem. O allies, he's going to call them something else too. This is vocative, Socii. Passi is also vocative. He's going to call them first allies, then he's going to call them O passi graviora, and this is the explanation for the second vocative. O Socii, O allies. And in fact, we are not ignorant of evils prior, of evils before now, so therefore I'm also going to call you, O you having suffered graver things. This comes from the verb patior, patior pati passus sum. It is deponent, perfect deponent participle in the vocative masculine plural. Graviora, the adjective is gravis. So gravior, that's the comparative form. Graviora, neuter plural accusative, direct object of this deponent perfect participle. So, O you having suffered graver things. So can you follow that logic? He says, first calls them allies, and then says, oh, actually, we've suffered things before now, too. So now I'm going to call you, you who have suffered worse things. Dabit Deus his quoque finem. A God will give an end to these things too. Very quotable line there. O passi graviora, dabit Deus his quoque finem. What kind of things have they suffered in the past? Well, we haven't heard in this story yet, but we will. We're going to hear about how they came all the way from Troy to where they are now in Carthage in books 2 and 3. And the whole books 2 and 3 are going to be a flashback narrated by Aeneas to Queen Dido in Carthage. Book 2 is about the fall of Troy, and book 3 is about moving from Troy to where they are now, and they follow the same route that Odysseus took in the Odyssey. So if you know books 9 through 12 in the Odyssey, some of this will sound familiar. Vos et Scyllaeam rabiem penitusque sonantis acestis scopulos. Vos et Cyclopea saxa experti. You both Scylla, the mad, so Scylla comes into the Odyssey in book whatever it is, 10, 12, I forget. Mad Scylla, accusative, direct object, we haven't got a verb yet, and another direct object, the rocks, sounding deeply within. Sonantis, accusative, plural, third declension. Here's the verb, acestis. You, what does that verb mean? Encountered, or whatever. You encountered, these are some of the worst things that have happened to you already, both Scylla and the deeply sounding rocks. So what are the two things that Odysseus sails between? One is Scylla and the other one is, look it up, Vos et Cyclopea saxa experti. You, experti sunt, understood, have experienced, have suffered also Cyclopean rocks. What are Cyclopean rocks? This is in book 9 of the Odyssey, everybody's favorite. The Cyclops with the one eye and the rocks are the cave. Yeah, they meet that guy too. So interestingly, it's a cool device here that Virgil is employing. Aeneas is reminding his men about things that they have already suffered at this point in their adventure. But to us, in the first 200 lines or so of the Aeneid, it is a look forward to what we are going to hear in the story and setting it up in the cycle of Homeric epics. He's going to follow the same path that Odysseus took. Just wait, you'll see, reader. Revocat animos, maestum timorem mittite. Recall your spirits and your grievous fear let go, or send off your grievous fear. Another very quotable line right here. Forsan et haec olim meminisse iuabit. Perhaps even these things at some time it will be pleasing to remember. Very quotable line, I'll break it down for you. Forsan is short for fors sit on, and you can basically just shorten it to mean perhaps. A verb is here, iuabit. That form is pretty self-explanatory, right? Meminisse, perfect infinitive, but remember that this verb memini is what's called defective. So it has no present system, and the perfect system has present meaning. So meminisse, the perfect infinitive, just means to remember. And it's a subject infinitive. It's actually the subject of iuabit. So it will be pleasing to remember, or to remember will be pleasing. To remember what? To remember haec. That's neuter plural accusative. To remember these things. Even these things, et is an adverb there, and olim another adverb. It means at some time. If it means at some time in the past, it means once. If it means at some time in the future, it means sometime or someday or something like that. So put the whole thing together. Perhaps even these things someday to remember it will be pleasing. Perhaps it will be pleasing to remember even these shitty things one day. Per varios casus, per tot discrimina rerum tendimus in Latium. Through various, fourth declension, accusative, plural, through various calamities, downfalls, through so many uncertainties of things, I don't know, other bad things. Look that word up if you want. Tendimus, do we strive? Do we tend? Do we reach into Latium, towards Latium, that place in Italy where we're trying to go? Sedes ubi fata quietas ostendunt, where the fates portend or offer quiet, peaceful seats, that is, quiet, peaceful dwelling places. Illic, adverb, there fas regna resurgere Troiae. There, fas, and you have to understand something like est, it is divinely right that the kingdoms of Troy resurgere, that they rise again. Durate, endure. Et vosmet rebus servate secundis. Another very quotable line. And servate, durate et servate, endure and save, preserve. Vosmet is just a very strong form of vos. So here, accusative plural. Save yourselves for things to come, things following. Sometimes secundus it means following literally. It comes from secor. It's actually a future passive participle, sort of. And it can also mean more favorable things. End speech. Durate et vosmet rebus servate secundis. Talia voce refert. Good speech. Such things with his voice he relates. With his voice, that is out loud, contrasting to his inner feelings. Curisque in gentibus. And with enormous cares sick. Spem voltu simulat. He feigns hope with his face. So he says those things out loud and sounds very proud, and he is really sick with anxiety, and he pretends, literally is putting on a brave face, pretends hope with his face. Premit altum corde dolorem. Presses down his grief deep. Altum agrees with dolorem, his pain deep, so that it becomes deep in his chest.